I think that the entrepreneurs really misunderstand that it's not about putting in more effort. It's about turning unconscious competency,
Let's get
right? What
scratching.
you've actually mastered, again, what you know that you use. People come to you for what you share that you are so in love with and who you are, right?
Let's get
It's
scratching.
when you step into who you are, you step into your personal purpose, you step into your personal calling, and that is really the way to wealth. Most entrepreneurs believe that you have to work super hard just to build wealth. That is the biggest lie that we were ever fed. I know that we believed in that lie for a very, very long time. And after attending the private jet mastermind with Dr. Myron Golden and Dr. Benjamin Hardy, it really confirmed that that is a huge fat lie. And that's why today we're going to be here to share with you what we learned from that experience, after flying from Tampa to Boise with Dr. Benjamin Hardy, which was a special guest of this mastermind that we were actually having a private mastermind with Myron Golden. And what I realized is that it's not that they do more; it's just that they think differently, and that's what you have to shift. You have to think how you differently, because if you don't, you're going to be working hard for nothing. As a matter of fact, you might be working so hard that you might sacrifice everything, sacrifice yourself, sacrifice your family, sacrifice, those around you that you love the most, and be coming to the point where you wake up at the end of years of your life wishing that, regretting that you worked so hard for what? For a paycheck, for money, right? And we want to make sure that you can actually avoid that. So, hello, C. Saban. Here's my beautiful wife, Phyllis, with us as well.
Hi, how's everybody doing? I talked to my husband. The truth is, at the very beginning, I didn't really wanted to start a YouTube channel. However, we have spent a lot of money learning with all these high level coaches, and we realized that this would be a great service for us to bring all this inside knowledge to you, so that you can get to your dream life faster and live the life that you truly deserve, which is a big word for us, which is freedom. Right now, we're in Laos, experiencing Water Festival, which is the Lao New Year. At the very end of this video, we're going to share with you some of the videos how my kids sees, right, having the water gun and shooting at everybody and having like the best time of their life. And for the women out here, if you want your husband to sometimes be childlike, right, and enjoy themselves, well, Laos Water Festival is actually a good place. And we'll share with you some of those clips from Seas 2. So the very first
Yeah.
question, go for it.
Yeah, so we're drinking something cold here inside right now because in April, starting April, really gets really, really hot in Laos, April to about July or so. So having a water festival during Lao New Year is amazing because you could kind of cool down, right? But me and Phyllis were thinking, man, there's this amazing cafe that we stopped by, get something cold to drink. But we're like, we have a lot of hot nuggets that we can actually share with people. Let's just record something for them to share with what that trip was like. Because literally last week, we were flying from Tampa to Boise, right, to this mastermind, and we had a 5-hour private jet ride with Myron and Dr. Benjamin Hardy. And then the cool part is we were also there with our other VIP masterminds, right, where me and Phyllis are also part of Myron Golden's VIP mastermind. So there were four other people there that were on part of that mastermind. And a lot of the questions that she's going to ask that we're going to share with you here really kind of came from that, was birthed from being around not just Dr. Benjamin Hardy and Dr. Golden, but really the other VIP masterminds as well. So enjoy it. And here's the first question.
Yes, the question number one is when we got on the jet, what shocked you immediately?
Yeah, authenticity. People were authentic. They weren't trying to be anybody else. They weren't trying to impress anybody. Everybody showed up authentic, humble, and honestly ready to grow. And even though it shocks me every single time when I walk into rooms like this, whether I'm on a yacht mastermind, private jet mastermind, Tony Robbins Platinum Partnership Mastermind, or Inner Circle Mastermind with Russell Brunson. It shocks me every time that pattern shows up consistently, right? where everybody was, even though had achieved a lot, but they still wanted to learn, they still wanted to grow. They still wanted to figure out how they can get to somewhere faster and more efficient and more effective, how they can do it better, how they can serve more, how they can impact people more, how can they can give back more, right? And contribute and share. So and grow and grow on areas that they seek, the areas that they're weakest at, right? That they're not strongest at. And this, how can I fix this? How can I solve this so that I can continue to stay in my strength zone and my zone of genius, and really figure out how I can leverage the people that I'm involved with here in the mastermind or in rooms like this. How can I leverage their strengths so that it can help me with my weaknesses? So that was really shocking that that pattern keeps showing. It's not shocking that that happens because it happens every time, but it's really shocked me that that pattern continuously shows up in rooms like this. That was my biggest takeaway.
Yeah, and what really shocks me is, question are the answers. And this time around, because we have Myron and Benjamin Hardy inside both, and I realized that, wow, their question is to the next level. And we will be sharing with you some of the questions that Benjamin Hardy and Myron Golden asked us during the mastermind. The first one I would like to share with you is a stress test. Can your model sustain the stress test? What does that mean? They ask us, what do we want to do? What is our biggest goal, right? Our biggest goal right now is to make $100 million in 10 years. And you say, well, let me give you some stress test real quick. What can what do you need to do to turn $100 million in 3 years? So instead of 10, make it a 3 years. So now you change your filter, you're focusing in, and now you have a new set of questions to ask yourself on how do I do this, right? How do I make this happen? Because 3 years, by you asking that questions, and from 10 years to 3 years, it forces you to focus and shred everything else that is not relevant anymore so that you can hit that target. And I was just like, wow, this is really powerful. I've done something like that similar, but in a reverse way. What we do is we used to have a 5 people team, but when we build a software, we'll say, okay, let's build a software that will sustain 500 people. And if it doesn't sustain 500 people, we're not going to build it because we do not want to continuously repeat the building process again. Right? So that's what it is for me. And being in room like that, I'm encouraging you to go to be in this kind of room, kind of like what we talk about dream team, because with this kind of room, it literally challenges you and open up your awareness and it gets you closer to your goal every single time. All right. So question number 2, right? What do you think most entrepreneur misunderstood about building wealth? What do you think most entrepreneur misunderstand about building wealth?
Yeah, the old habits die hard, right? They always say we spend first, we're conditioned to trade our time for money, right? And I think we carry that habit. When we switch from an employee to an entrepreneur, this is the thing that most entrepreneurs really misunderstand the most, is that you have to put in more time, right? You have to put in more time to get the results that you want. Pay now, play later. These are things that were taught by business people, business coaches that were dated, right? 50, 60, 70 years ago. Oh, you got to pay now, play later, right? More input equals more output, right? And it's not that, entrepreneurship, if you really think about it, the lowest level of wealth building is implementation, which is essentially muscle, right? Which is you're the one doing the work. That's where it starts. And the reason why it's the lowest level, because there's only one meal and there's only 24 hours in a day. Matter of fact, working hours, there's probably only, maximum hours, 16 hours a day that you actually can really work effectively. So that's a lot of effort. That's why it's the lowest level of wealth building. The second level is then management, right? Where you then start delegating to people. And if you look at even management, that's not where wealth begins. It's really the third level is where wealth really starts to begin, which is the mind level, where you're able to extract what you know, right? You have strategies, methods, frameworks, things like that to share, turn that to an offer, and you educate people. But where wealth really lives is a mastery. This is where you turn what you know, what you love, who you are, and you help people transform, right? That's where wealth really is. So I think that the entrepreneurs really misunderstand that it's not about putting in more effort. It's about turning unconscious competency, right? What you've actually mastered, again, what you know, that you people come to you for what you share, that you are so in love with and who you are, right? It's when you step into who you are, you step into your personal purpose, you step into your personal calling, and that is really the way to wealth.
Yeah. So for me, kind of like what Benjamin Hardy talked about in his book, Who Not How, is to build a team. And then instead of focusing on the how, you're focusing on the who. Who can bring you closer? Who can bring you faster? I think most entrepreneurs, what they do is kind of jack of all trade. They learn how to do sales, how to do marketing, how to do accounting, how to do everything. But the fastest way to do all these is actually to hire somebody that's smarter than you on every single one of them. That's why, you get to know the who, and then the who will take care of the how. And thus you will grow faster together with the whole team. And thus building wealth is not going to be hard for you anymore. Most people, what they do is they slowly, right? They're just like what Benjamin Hardy talked about is you grow linear, right? You're growing, but you're not scaling because you are doing one thing at a time, and just stack on top of it instead of, figure out one and then just get the whole team going and then you just expand exponentially. That's the reason why he thinks that, it's actually a lot easier to hit your 100 million in 3 years than hitting 100 million in 10 years. So the next question is, what is the biggest difference between how average entrepreneurs think versus wealthy people like Myron Golden?
Yeah, the biggest difference that I really witnessed when Ben was, all of us were in hot seats. I think there were four businesses that were sat in a hot seat, and Ben asked a bunch of questions. So did, Myron as well. And they think from scale, right? They don't think from the present and trying to grow. They think from the future and work backwards, right? So that's where it's different. And that really helped me really identify, if I want to get this outcome, right? This frame, Dr. Benjamin already talks about this frame, this goal essentially, right? I have to think, if I achieve that already, right, and work backwards, like, who did I become to be able to achieve that? What did I do, right? What did I avoid? What did I say yes to? What did I say no to? Who did I say yes to? Who did I say no to? Who did I have around me? Who didn't I have around me? And what did I do versus what I didn't do, right? All of those things are so crucial in terms of asking questions or the answer. So for me, that's what I witnessed. They just think differently. They think from, if I already achieved that, let's work backwards, right? Let's begin with the end in mind and work backwards and build your strategies and your people and your process and your pathway towards that goal from that space, from that type of thinking.
Yeah. And as for me, I think that for wealthy people, business is a game. They feel like they're just playing a computer game. And if they have failed, no problem. They just restart. If they fail again, they just restart. They learn, along the way and they have fun while they are doing it. For the rest of the people, for the average entrepreneur, every time you fail, it's like a life problem, right? Like, oh my gosh, like something really happened. And then you blame yourself, you hurt yourself, you can't sleep, you can't eat, and you just put a lot of shame and guilt inside on you and stress. That's your at the end you kind of hyperventilate, and that's the reason why 90% of entrepreneurs quit on their first year because of how much they're stacking on themselves when they fail, instead of like what a lot of wealthy people do is like, oh, congratulations, I just fail again, and if I take one more no, that means the yes is coming, so let's go. How can I fail forward? It took me quite a few years to learn that, because I was just like you at the very beginning. It's like, oh, man, I failed. Man, this is bad. Man, why am I not smart enough? Not hard. Not in, not didn't study enough, right? Didn't try enough. Why did I fail? And but one thing that I learned is failure is actually a connecting point towards success. Without failure, you will not be able to get to success because you probably never start. And that was fascinating. It's easy to understand the concept, but it's hard to practice. So it took me quite a few years to practice it. And by the time I practice it now I can just scale the business without worrying about it because it's a game, right? So if I fail, so be it. I'm just going to restart. I'm just going to learn and I'm just going to move forward. All right. The next question is, looking back, what were we doing that was actually slowing us down?
Yeah, so definitely doing. That question itself is already the start of the problem. Doing more versus delegating more, right? Doing more, shifting that from that doer's identity to that delegator identity. That's a whole thing. That is definitely a whole thing, right? There's some strategies around that in terms of how to actually do that. I think that one of the best ways to shift your strategy, at least to doing from going from doing to delegating, is just kind of list down all the things that you're doing, and then you just look at that big massive list and really just circle like the things that you should be doing. And what I mean by should be doing is like things that you actually enjoy doing, things that move the needle in your life, your relationship, your business, things that can make you the most amount of money, things that make the most amount of impact in your business, and everything else. Even though some of the stuff on the list you might love, you actually might love doing that, but it's actually costing you more by doing those things. You know what I mean? So for me, it's literally recognize that what's really slowed our growth down is we were just doing way too much instead of just being right the best version, being more, not doing more, and then learning how to delegate the rest. But it is a whole identity shift to turn from a doer to a delegator for sure. Once we did that, not only did we grow, we scaled, right? Because there's a big difference between growing and scaling. Growing is income, every year. It's like growing is addition, scaling is multiplication.
Yeah, I love, love, love that. And the truth is, looking back for me, what really slowing us down, kind of like what Benjamin Hardy talked about, we need to raise the floor. I think as an entrepreneur, we start, I mean, at least for me and C's, we start as underdogs, right? And we just have soft heart with underdogs. And we just always wanted to work with underdogs. And we also, not just the people, right, on the lowest level, we also like to do the tasks that give us the lowest return. Okay. So the floor for us is so low, and thus it fill up a lot of our time to work with people that kind of want to do it but not necessarily have the capacity or willing. And then the task that maybe it's just checking your email, creating social media posts or whatever, that really netting you very minimal ROI. And as soon as we learn how we can just raise the floor up and erase all these people or all these tasks, or just delegate them out because you must get it done, life have been coming so much faster. Like I didn't even realize that we hit 8 figures because we were just having fun doing what we really enjoy doing and traveling a lot. And and 8 figures was so easy. But before, man, I can tell you, $500,000 was very hard for us. We're like, but we work 8 days a week. 8 days a week. We don't really go date. We don't really take care of ourselves. We just work and home, and we cannot even hit $500,000. So that is crazy, right? And this is what I wanted to share this with you because we don't want you to get into the same trap like how we were, especially right now with technology, with AI, with all this knowledge that you can just easily get in your hand with your phone. I know you can get successful faster for sure. All right. So the next question, right? What was the one shift from that mastermind in the sky that changed everything for us?
For me, there's in the science of scaling, Dr. Benjamin Hardy talks about 3 steps, right? Frame, floor, focus. Frame is essentially setting your target or your outcome, your goal, but then putting a frame of time on it as well. So, like $100 million in 3 years instead of $100 million in 10 years, right? What's your stress test to to include a timeline in it that is so big, so impossible, right? Some people call it the hairy, audacious goal, the BHAG, right? And for us, it's $100 million in 3 years. That's the frame. The floor, which is really, really cool exercise to really do. We have multiple offers. We have like 4 to 5 offers. And the floor is essentially saying, what do you have to say yes to, right? What to these 5 offers? And we found out that we had to say no as well. What do you have to say no to? To one of the three of our offers that we should be you saying killing it and saying no to it, like our 30K offer, our $100,000 offer, our $2,500 offer. Even though they generate us revenue, they wouldn't be able to allow us to scale to $100 million in 3 years. So we have to start saying yes to our 50K offer, right, and our 250K offer. Those are allow us to scale, right? So that's the floor. So you have to raise the floor, not on just what you're selling, but same thing with who. Who do you have to say yes to? Who do you have to say no to as well? Right? We're part of several masterminds. We have several coaches as well. And we have to okay, who do we have to say yes to continue our coaching and masterminding with them? Who do we have to say no to? Because it will distract us, right? Same thing with our team. Who do you have to say yes to keep on our team? Who do you have to say no to on our team? AI is part of our team as well, right? What type of AI do you have to? There's a lot of shiny objects out there, right? So what do you have to say yes to? What do you have to say no to? Even though some of it is good, maybe it works, but let's figure out, create a floor essentially, right? And then what really helped me with that is then we go into focus. We say, okay, then now that we have a frame, a floor, let's build our focus. What's our model? What's the business model that we're going to go all in to ensure that we hit $100 million in 3 years? What do we have to do at that point and stay focused on it? I always say that most people are ideas rich, but really just time and money poor, right? 'Cause they have a ton of ideas, but they don't implement them. So they implement the wrong things and they don't have floor. They're time poor as well because they're all over the place, right? And they're not generating the revenue or the money that they want to generate. So they're also money poor as well. But they have big ideas, right? So for us, the floor really takes away what really is the ideas that you really need to put into focus and implement. So that was the one thing that was to me was a huge game changer, frame, floor, and focus.
I think that one shift that that really changed everything for me, from the mastermind is keep reading Dr. Benjamin Hardy book, The Science of Scaling, because there is so many powerful questions in there that really help us reframe ourselves. And one of them is, do you have a proven model? One of our proven model is our agency, right? We currently have about 400 clients that working with us consistently, right? And about 400 to 500 virtual assistants working with us consistently. So that's a proven model. And if we wanted to scale it, we can easily scale it because we have done it over and over and over and over again. And as for you, if you want to, scale something, right? Do you have a proven model, right? Is it worth the stress test? Have you done it over and over again that you know that it is working? And if it's not working, don't jump to the next thing. I have a really, really good friend. His name is Bill from the Inner Circle. He is very successful, have done a lot of sales so far, right? I'm not going to share the numbers. Well, actually, maybe I will share. He make like $100 million in a year. And he always shared this. It's always so fascinating that when people tell me like that thing doesn't work, right? So they work on the next thing. And he said, well, the thing doesn't work because you didn't work it, right? If you continue working it, eventually it's going to work, right? So don't quit and go to do the next thing. Just focus on this one thing. And that really made me realize that, man, mission is dream life. We want everybody to have a dream life. We want everybody to have an end life and not an or life. That means that, you're going to have your dream self, dream business, and a dream team so that will equals to your dream life. That is what we wanted to focusing on. And that's why, we're sharing this video with you to let you know, hey, how are you going to get there, right? Do you have the proven, model for your business? Do you have your coaches, your proximity, right? Your team, your AI tools as your dream team to make everything together. And ultimately, the most important thing is the dream stuff. The reason why we say it's just three things is because 1 times 1 times 1 equals to 1. But if it's one of them is 0, right? 0 times 1 times 1, that is actually 0. So you actually have to be successful at all three things to make yourself really, really well. And I can say enough that mastermind, what it really solidified is that, man, this dream life, framework that we have, we currently enjoying, we really wanted to share with everyone in the world because you only live once. The next question is, what did we learn about making more money without working more?
Got it. What did we learn about making more money without working more? I know that the money or the $100 million in 3 years is going to come from kind of what echo what Phyllis just said there. The one thing, right? The one thing. If you have multiple, like for us, if you try to sell multiple offers, or maybe I can create $100,000 offer. Maybe I'll create a $500,000 offer. Maybe I'll create $1 million offer, right? That's a lot of work, right? That's such a that's hard work. Again, you know, create one offer that you 100% believe in. You know that you can help people. It solves problems. It helps people, get a payoff. And it's something that you're super passionate about. And especially if you're in love with how you deliver on that offer, just go all in on that. Right. And then just build a whole model around that. Whatever your frame is, whatever you want to hit, just like us, right? $50,000. We have two offers. We have $50,000 offer. So if I acquire 1,000 clients, and that's $50 million. And then we have a $250,000 offer that's made for The $50,000 offer is made for people who are generating $20,000 a month or more already, but they're looking to go to seven figures. They're looking to go to 100K months, right? So that offer is made for them. So all I need to do is just need to find 1,000 of those people to get 1,000 people to say yes to that. That's $50 million. And then, so how do I make up the other $50 million? Well, you said let's have a $250,000 offer, and that is for people who already had a million and they want to go to you know multi-million dollar or eight figures, right? And we're going to share what we're actually being able to do. So that if I acquire those people, then I just need to acquire 200 people more at $250,000. That's my other $50 million. Does that make sense? So that's it. And I'm just going to go in on that, because if I go beyond that, then it's just more work, more time, right? And sometimes it's not, by doing that, it actually doesn't equate to more money, right? It actually equates to less money or taking a longer to get that money. So for us, if we just dove all in for these two offers and find the right people, it's 1,200 people basically, right? We got 100 people buying the 1,000 people buying the $50,000 offer, and then we have 200 people buying the $250,000 offer. That 1,200 people in the next 3 years, very doable. That's a scaling model. That's a model that's going to work.
I love that. I love that. So just like I said, I'm going to share with you some of the questions that Benjamin Hardy and Myron asked us. One of the things that he actually consistently telling us is the question, it should be, what should I never do again, instead of what can I do better? Okay. What should I never do again, instead of what can I do better? Because the key is, instead of extending yourself from all the activity below the floor, right? How can you remove yourself from it so that you can go deeper and get better with it? The reason why McDonald's and Coca-Cola is so successful, because they only sell, at the very beginning, right? They only sell one bottle of Coca-Cola. And then they figure out the formula, they figure out what they really like. And then what they do is they just copy the same thing over and over again. And thus you don't have to do more, because they are the exact same thing. So the question for you is, how can you find that same thing that you really enjoy doing, that is easy for you to duplicate, and you can do it 1,000 times, 1,000,000 times, 100 million times, right? And thus it's so easy for you to, if you want, make $100 million in 3 years too. All right. So the next question is, how that this connect to your dream life?
Yeah, this really helps. One of the things that I'm a true believer of is that um, we decide a dream life, then you decide to live it first, and then we find a vehicle, right? It's just kind of like GPS. You got to know the destination. So for us, dream life is our destination. See what that destination looks like. Where is it that you actually want to go? And then you find a vehicle to actually take you there, right? The vehicle could be, you can either walk there, you can take a bike there, you can do a motorcycle, you can take an airplane, you can take a car, right? You can do a private jet, or you'd even do a fighter jet to get you there faster. Whatever that is, you choose the vehicle. So for us, when we set the frame on the floor, that really helped us. Like, man, we really got into a sonic super jet to get us to that $100 million in 3 years. So for me, it's about really knowing that we are now in a vehicle that we trust, that we believe, that is needed to kind of fund and fuel our dream life. So that's the connection there, right? We decide how we want to live. Where are we? Why are we there? Like, our motto is go where we want, when we want, stay as long as we want, bring as many people as we want. But the reality of it is, you still need a vehicle to get you there. So that's where the connection is, right? Between your dream life and your dream business, essentially, is your dream income, right? How do you generate that dream income to kind of fuel and fund the dream life?
Well, I love it. How does this connect to, your dream life or my dream life? Everything, right? Ultimately, the answer is, I'm living the dream. I want you to live your dream. So whatever it takes, do that, right? And if you realize that what you're currently doing is not working, then change it. And if you change that, or if you're modeling after success, kind of like us, right? We bought into Myron Golden's 1-year VIP program, is because we realized that we will not be able to get to 100 million quick if we don't model somebody else that have already done it, because we have no imagination. We don't know how to be in order to become that person, right? So it is everything, as we consistently surrounding ourselves with people that is moving forward. Just like what they said, find the best five, get your 5 best friend, divided their income by 5, that's pretty much where we are going to be. So we consistently upgrade our best friends, right? Just to make sure that, we're catching up and getting closer and closer to where we need to go. Okay. So we only have 2 more questions left. The next question is, if someone wanted to build a business that fund their dream life, what should they stop doing?
They should stop. I'll give you 2 things. Like, they should stop and start. You should stop doing things um, that is highly effort, right? Where it requires you instead of people and processes. That's one. Stop doing that, because there's only one you, right? And then what you should start doing is really extract. Extract, I believe in 3 things: extract who you are, right? Your essence, what you do, right? What you know, and then what you love. And turn that into an offer, turn that into some type of a product or service. And then now your job is just to really go out and find the people who need that, the problem that you're really solving in the marketplace, and the payoff that people want, right? That's it. And if you could do that, you will build wealth without a doubt. That, to me, that's how you build a dream business that kind of funds and fuels your dream life.
For me, I think is stop being so hard on yourself. Stop being so hard on yourself. Stop being so critical on yourself. One thing that we learned from Myron Golden, he say, "I am that I am." Right? I am that I am. What does that mean? That means that you're the representation of God. God gave you everything that you need. He gave you every opportunity you have. So unless you open up and receive the awesomeness, you are not going to get to where you need to go. And in life, when we are here, we're practicing and we're learning and we're allowing ourselves to receive the glories from God, right? What to prove to Him, not to prove to Him, to prove to ourselves that I am that I am. And this whole year, working with Myron, I think that's really what I learned is that there's no difference between me and Myron. Myron just believes way more than I do. And does he manage to do more than I am? Right. So I need to be kinder to myself. I need to love myself even more. And I need to uh, stop criticizing myself and really be gentle, because if you turn it into a game and you love game and you love yourself, then your momentum is going to start faster, because you don't really spend too much time in the dwelling moments. Okay. Did you get that? If you get that, type it down below. Let me know that aligned with you. And the reason why I share that with you is because that was me, right? I know I have a mission. I know I'm smart, but because of all the critical thinking that I have towards myself, it has been blocking me from achieving my potential, right? And at this moment when I'm telling you this, I am still working on it, right? I'm not there yet. I'm still working on it consistently. And would love for you to climb the Mount Everest together with me. All right, the very, very last question is, after that mastermind in the sky, which is really fun, what do you believe that you didn't before?
Yeah, it literally is that is the answer, Leaf. I believe that everything that you have in your life, your relationship, your work, your money, your health, those are the major areas that are impact you the most, that are most important to you. It does start with belief, right? It does start with that, because when they always say, if you believe you believe you can, you're right, right? At the end of the day, you're right. So if you believe that you can live a healthy life, you're going to do that. Your body doesn't know the difference between right or wrong, what's truth or what's not real, right? So when I left that mastermind, I realized the biggest belief that I left was that I do have a lot to offer. There's a lot of lived experiences. There's a lot of expertise. There's a lot of, things that I've learned through good and bad, struggles and successes, that somebody in the world needs, right? And there's what, 8 billion people in the world now, and we don't need to try to acquire all 8 billion. You just got to find your who's, right, that are out there just waiting for you. They're just waiting for you to kind of step out and share yourself, right? And share who you are, share what you do, share how you do it, and share how you can help them. And the worst thing that we can do is just stay small, right? That's kind of my biggest takeaway from the mastermind is, you believe in yourself and then turn it into a system, right? Create a frame around that, create a floor, and then create your focus on that, and just go all in on yourself. And the unfortunate part is most of us go all in on what the world kind of conditions us to be, or what we're supposed to be doing. And we wake up, just like what Bronnie Ware said on her book, Top 5 Regrets of the Dying. The very first regret is, I wish I lived a life true to myself instead of what others expected of me. And I think that most people live a life not true to themselves. And that was my biggest shift. That was my biggest belief leaving the mastermind is I need to live a life true to myself so that I don't wake up one day regretting and it's number one regret of the dying. And I don't want to do that.
I love it. I love it. I love it. So, well, before getting into the airplane, right, with Myron and Dr. Benjamin Hardy, I do not believe that I will be able to hit 100 million in 3 years. Now I do because of the questions that he asked, the realization that we have. And now we just have to raise our floor, right? Raise the ceiling and just fully focus on what we have to do with the proven model that we have, and the rest will be history. And that has been really powerful because it gave me the certainty, gave me the belief that I could do it. And if you really wanted to learn more about what are some of the questions that Benjamin Hardy have, actually, he's very kind that he is giving us his audio book of the science of scaling. So it's going to be, attached down below so that you can click on it, listen to it, so that you can 10x your business even faster and not 2x your business. And just like what we said, the bonus here too is if you're curious about coming to Asia, right? And you are wondering what is a water festival? Is it safe for us to be here? Is it fun for us to hang out in Laos? At the very beginning, if my mother-in-law is not here, I don't think I'll ever land in Laos because it's just kind of uncomfortable. I don't know what I don't know. So I want to kind of share with you like some of the places we've been to, some of the experience that we have, especially on the water festival, and it will sprinkle the rest on other videos too. So feel free to stay to the end and look it up because ultimately, like we said, we have been to so many countries, so many cities, and we want to share that with you so that it will inspire you to travel the world if you have not traveled yet, or you want to travel to some of these places that you haven't been to. And that's what, that's kind of like a little gift from us to you. Okay.
So again, my biggest takeaway, most entrepreneurs believe that you have to work hard in order to build wealth. And that's definitely not the case. That's a big, 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 big lie. There's only really a handful of things you need to do to really build wealth. One is believe in yourself, that you have something that you've actually mastered. Turn that into an offer, turn that into a product or service and take it out to the marketplace. Find the people who need your offer, who want it, right? Who have a problem that you can actually solve, who want the payoff that you can actually help them achieve. Second is not about doing more, it's about delegating more. It's about leveraging other people who are better than you, things that you shouldn't do, can't do, you really don't want to do anyways. Let's really outsource that to your team, right? Your team as much as possible. And then outsourcing in terms of team members, don't forget, right? Coaching, right? People who can help you go faster, who can help you avoid mistakes that they have actually made so that you can avoid them too. Don't forget those people as well. That's it. And then outside of that, if you do those things, wealth is just right around the corner. You're well on your way. So that's why we wanted to stop by and share this with you because I think it was such a great experience for us to be on the plane with both Dr. Myron Golden and Benjamin Harden and all our other VIPs. But we felt like it was necessary for us to really be here to share this video with you. So again, see you guys soon. As a matter of fact, see you in the next video.
Bye.